What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to be doing a very different video. We're doing mapping today. This is what if Russian Federation declared war on Estonia. Very different to the other things, but I know here that South Ossetia and Abkhazia is already occupied by the Russians, so I could put that there, and then some nations that I highlighted earlier. Okay, so I'm not going to go into detail with all this, but blue is the defensive and red is the attackers. And all the red's going to be Russian allies, and all the blues American and / NATO allies. So we have all this being contracted. I think that the first thing we're going to see is a NATO offensive into the Belarusian country. I believe that's Belarusian, I don't know. The Hungarians, Romanians, and Croatians, I believe, all push into here. Meanwhile, some Macedonians, Albanians, Montenegrins, Greeks, and Bulgarians are pushing up here with minimal Turkish support, but still some Turkish support. Small push into Kaliningrad is made because it's heavily fortified. Down here, we'd most likely see but the first Russian offensive and Iranian offensive, which is to meet up with each other. And they do it successfully, whilst also cutting off the rest of Azerbaijan from Georgia. But that doesn't really matter, as Georgia's already fell within the first month of the year. They then invade Kuwait to get down towards Saudi Arabia, and they try and take Riyadh, the capital of Saudi Arabia, as well as capturing key oil fields. Eventually, they make a spearhead towards Riyadh. They take it, and then they take key ports along the city, which are our key exporters. And then they make a spearhead over there. And then they surrender all the Saudi Arabian troops down there, which then causes a collapse of the coast, as those were the coastal defenses. They then push in pretty fast into the Saudi Arabian countryside, and they then the Russians sail down, and then they make a landing there, a landing here. Constantinople / Istanbul's being highly protected. They also land right here, which pushes up towards Odessa, capitulating the coast of the nation and taking over all of the Black Sea. In fierce battles, such as the Battle of Constantinople, they then push around. They take Ankara in the 4th month of the war. This would be, I believe, September 2022, if it happened right now, I believe. Actually, no, it'd be like July. I was off by a lot. And then they start pushing in. The Russians are able to take Kiev, but eventually during those fierce battles, the United States was able to bring troops over, which pushes the Russian advance back, also taking Kiev back from the Russians and all of Ukraine. And parts of Turkey are liberated, such as the southern coast. American troops in Saudi Arabia, because I've heard that they have a lot of American troops and bases there, start pushing up to liberate Saudi Arabia. Once again, they push up and take Riyadh, which is the Second Battle of Riyadh, looting 200,000 casualties, 100,000 or 50,000 American, and 150,000 Iranian and Iraqis. Eventually, they try and push up all the way, which they eventually do. But the troops in the south are highly outnumbered, as the American military could possibly hold the draft, but most likely not, due to it being a republic And then with that being captured, they actually keep pushing the spearhead all the way. They thought it was just to Kuwait, but no. They spiked it all the way to Tehran. And a landing in Iran, Israel is held, and they completely take back over Saudi Arabia. They take Ankara back, and then they push over. They do take Abkhazia, but then but South Ossetia is harder to take due to it having more Russian soldiers in it. They then recapture all lost territory. I believe that was all of it, and then Ukrainian soldiers push down, take. The American soldiers did take Kaliningrad earlier, and the fall of Minsk had happened with the fall of Belarus. Ukrainian soldiers pushed down. They're ready for the winter this time, so they can't push them back. They start doing what Hitler did, but did not make the same mistake. They cut it all off. They then start pushing all the way into the Iranian mountains, getting actually stopped at the Iranian mountains before then moving down the coast, which caused more guerrilla warfare as it did in Afghanistan, but on a much lesser scale. And eventually the Islamic Republic of Iran fell, and a double push that was eventually met here was pushed out, and then troops gathered at Baku to land here, which they did successfully. They pushed around, took over the Kazakh coast. They then started pushing towards Astana, which they captured within weeks of the spearhead being launched. 1 minute, guys. Alright, and then they start pushing over. They eventually do reach Moscow, and they surround Moscow with just the city remaining, and then it is captured with the 12th American Division with SEAL Team 3. Just pretend like that's real. I did not do any research. And then this lake is fully captured, as well as the capturing of St. Petersburg, and eventually desperate calls call for desperate measure. The first nuke dropped since World War II. During the war, or dropped on Russia, which caused the country to surrender. One on Omsk and one in Novosibirsk. And then one down here in, I believe, the most populated city of Kazakhstan. And one on Astana. Just around. And then, we dropped nukes up and down the coast of eastern Russia, which decimate the Russian forces and take over. But one nuke accidentally goes into a rural China area, which causes China to declare war on the United States of America. But they did not respond with nukes. But the Americans actually prepared to that, as that was actually the location of an important nuclear facility holding around 200 nukes. in this, of course. It's just pretend that happened in the future. Alright, thanks. And they'd gathered up on Taiwan. First moved south, took that, then they took Hong Kong. And they started pushing up here. Started pushing up the coast. Right here is the location of Shanghai. Shanghai was taken. Then they pushed up the coast. They were pushed all the way to here. The loss of Beijing and that encircled. So the quote-unquote Russian last hope surrendered. And that led Kazakhstan to surrender. And then they did a bit more push. No, way too big. They did bit more pushing, taking Omsk and then Novosibirsk, and then making a landing over here, taking all the other nuke cities. And there's just Siberia left, so Russia surrendered, and that's the video, guys. I hope you liked it.